Hello my students, in this video we are going to focus on solving polynomial equations by using factoring techniques. In the last video we made a review on factoring techniques and we have 6 techniques in factoring. We are going to use these techniques in our course. Problem 1. We need to solve the below equations. What are the real or imaginary solutions of each polynomial equation? What are the real or imaginary solutions of each polynomial equation? First one, if we have an equation of 2x cubed minus 5x squared equal to 3x. How can we find the solution for this equation? We have a polynomial equation. As we have studied before, we are going to use the factoring techniques, but first we have to know some steps that we are going to use in our solutions. Steps of the solution. First step, we are going to rearrange the equation in the standard form. We write the equation in the form of b of x, which is polynomial of x, is equal to 0. Then the second step, we are going to factor the expression of the equation. We are going to factor each term by using the factoring techniques that we have studied before. In the third step, we will use the zero product property to find the solution. So we have some steps. We are going to use these steps to solve this kind of problems. Steps of the solution. First step, we are going to rewrite the equation in the form of b of x, the standard form of the polynomial equation. B of x is equal to 0. Then we are going to factor the expression using factoring techniques that we have studied before. And the third step, we are going to use the zero product property to find the solution. Then, according to these steps, first we have to rewrite the expression or the equation according to the standard form. So we are gonna move this part to the left side. It will be 2x cubed minus 5x squared minus 3x equal to 0. As you see, we have x cubed, x squared, x. So we are going to use the GCF, factor out by GCF. So we can factor out x, because we have x with the least degree, which is x power 1, and then multiplied by, divide 2x cubed divided by x, will be 2x squared. minus 5x, 5x squared divided by x will be 5x, minus 3 is equal to 0. Then we have x times 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 is equal to 0. The third step, we are going to use the zero product property to find the solution. So x is equal to 0 and 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 also equal to 0. So the first solution, x is equal to 0. Then we have 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. We have a trinomial, quadratic trinomial. But a, which is the leading coefficient, not equal to 1. So we are going to use the factoring by grouping technique. Or we can use quadratic formula. But here easily we can find the solution by using factoring by grouping technique. Then we have a, we are going to identify a and b and c. A is equal to 2, b negative 5, c negative 3. Then we have to find a, c and b. And then we need two numbers multiplied to ac but add to the sum, which is b. 2 times negative 3, which is negative 6, and b, which is negative 5. So we need two numbers multiplied to negative 6 but add to negative 5. And then we are going to distribute bx according to the two numbers. Negative 6, we have 3 times 2. 3 times negative 2 will be negative 6, but 3 minus 2 will be 1, not negative 5. So we can try 6 and 1. 6 times 1, negative 6. 6 times 1, 6. If we put negative 1, 6 times negative 1 will be negative 6. But the sum, 6 minus 1 will be 5, not negative 5. So we are going to change the sign. 1 minus 6 will be negative 5, and negative 6 times 1, it will be negative 6. So negative 6 times 1, negative 6. Negative 6 plus 1, or 1 minus 6, will be negative 5. So the required numbers, we have 2x squared minus 6x plus x minus 3 equal to 0. Here we have 4 terms by factoring by grouping. We have group 1 and group 2. Then we are going to use the GCF, factor out the GCF. 2, which is 2x. 2x squared divided by 2x will be x. 6x divided by 2x will be negative 3. 6 divided by 2, 3x divided by x1 plus x minus 3 equal to 0. Then we have x minus 3 and x minus 3. So we can take x minus 3 as a common factor, common bracket. Then we have 2x plus 1. So we have 2x plus 1 equal to 0, then 2x is equal to negative 1, then x is equal to negative 1 over 2, and here x is equal to 3. So the solutions are, finally we can find the solutions. The solutions are 0 and negative half and 3. The solutions for the above equation will be 0, negative half and 3. So easily we can find the solutions for any polynomial equation by factoring techniques. Let's see problem 5. Problem 1b. Problem 1b. What are the solutions for the below equation? 3x power 4 plus 12x squared equals 6x cubed. We have a polynomial equation according to the previous steps. So we have to rewrite the equation for the form of b of x is equal to 0. Then 3x power 4 plus 12x squared minus 6x cubed is equal to 0. Or we can say 3x we are going to rearrange according to the degree. 3x power 4 minus 6x cubed plus 12x squared equal to 0. And here we have a common coefficient. We have a common factor between the numbers. So we can divide each side by 3. Then this equation will give us 3x power 4 divided by 3. It will be x power 4 minus 2x cubed plus 4x squared equal to 0. Then we have x cubed, x squared. So by GCF, we can factor out the common factor. The least degree, which is x squared, will be the common factor. The greatest common factor will be x squared times the bracket of x power 4 divided by x squared. It will be x squared minus 2x cubed divided by x squared. It will be 2x plus 4x squared divided by x squared. It will be 1 equal to 0. Then x squared is equal to 0 and x squared minus 2x plus 4 also equal to 0. If we take square root for each side, then we have x is equal to 0. The first solution for x is equal to 0. And here we have a quadratic trinomial, normal quadratic trinomial with leading coefficient of 1. So easily we can find it by factoring. But here we have a problem. We need two numbers multiplied to 4, but add to negative 2. Actually, we don't have two numbers multiplied to 4 and add to negative 2. So here we cannot use factoring by grouping or trinomial factorization. So here we are going to use the quadratic formula. But first identify a and b and c are a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 2, and c is equal to 4. Then we are going to apply the quadratic formula, which is x is equal to negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Then x is equal to negative b, which is negative 2, which is 2, plus or minus square root of b squared negative 2 squared 4 minus 4a, which is 4, times c, will be 16, over 2 times a, which is 2. Then we have x is equal to 2 plus or minus square root of 4 minus 16 negative 12 over 2. So here we have a complex number as we have studied before. Then easily we can find the two numbers or the two values for x. X is equal to 2 over 2 plus or minus square root of negative 1, which is I. We can replace square root of negative 1 by I, and square root of 12. Square root of 12, we can simplify square root of 12 by 4 times 3. Square root of 4, which is 2, 2 square root of 3. So we can replace the square root of 12 by 2 square root of 3. So we have I times 2 times I square root of 3 over 2. Easily we can simplify 2 cancelled with 2 and 2 cancelled with 2. Then x is equal to 1 plus or minus I square root of 3. So we have two solutions here. X is equal to 1 plus I square root of 3 and 1 minus I square root of 3. So the solutions are, for this expression, the solutions are 0. The solutions are 0, 1 minus I square root of 3 and 1 plus I square root of 3. I have three solutions. I think it's a very easy problem. Let's see problem C. Find the real or imaginary solutions of each equation. C, x squared minus 1 times x squared plus 4 is equal to 0. D, x power 5 plus 4x cubed equal to 5x power 4 minus 2x cubed. How can we find the solution for this problem? We have two quadratic binomials. So first, we have to divide this problem. X squared minus 1 is equal to 0 and x squared plus 4 equal to 0. Then we are going to add plus 1 to each side. Then x squared is equal to 1 by taking the square root for each side. Then x is equal to plus or minus square root of 1, which is 1. Don't forget plus or minus. So we have two solutions. X is equal to 1 and x is equal to negative 1. So that side finished. Then we have x squared plus 4. So we are going to add negative 4 to each side. So it will be x squared is equal to negative 4. by taking the square root of each side, then x is equal to plus or minus square root of negative 4. So we'll find an imaginary solution, because here we don't have any solution in real part. So x is equal to plus or minus, we can replace square root of negative 1 by I. So it will be plus or minus square root of 4, which is 2i. Then we have two solutions. X is equal to plus 2i and x is equal to negative 2i. So finally we have four solutions for this equation. The solutions are 1, negative 1, 2i, and negative 2i. That's it. Here we have like terms. So first we are going to rewrite the equation in the form of p of x is equal to 0. Then we will combine like terms. X power 5 plus 4x cubed plus 2x cubed minus 5x power 4 equal to 0. Then we are going to combine. Then x power 4 and rearrange. Minus 5x power 4 plus 4 plus 2, 6x cubed equal to 0. So now easily we can find the solution for this equation by using factoring techniques. Here we have x power 5, x power 4, x cubed. So easily we can factor out x as a common factor. X cubed, the least degree, is equal to 0. Then we have x squared minus 5x plus 6x power 5 divided by x cubed will be x squared minus 5x power 4, it will be negative 5x divided by x cubed, it will be 5x plus 6x cubed divided by x cubed, it will give us 6 equal to 0. Then x is equal to 0, the first solution. Here we have a quadratic trinomial with the leading coefficient of 1. And easily we can find the solution by two numbers. We need two numbers multiplied to 6 and add to negative 5. Easily we can find it. So we have two brackets equal to 0. We need two numbers multiplied to 6 but add to negative 5. 6 times 2 or 3 times 2. 6 times 1 or 3 times 2. 3 times 2, 6. But we need the sum with the negative sign. So we can write negative 2 and negative 3. Negative times negative positive. 3 times 2, 6. Negative 3, negative 2 will give us negative 5. Then we have x minus 2 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 2 and x is equal to 3. So the solutions are 0, 2, and 3. Let's see problem 2. Find the real or imaginary solutions of each polynomial equation. Find the real or imaginary solutions of each polynomial equation. First one, we have x power 4 minus 3x squared equal to 4. And B, we have x cubed is equal to 1. Then how can we find the solution for this polynomial equation? First, we are going to rewrite the expression according to the standard form b of x is equal to 0. X power 4 minus 3x squared minus 4 equal to 0. Here we have a problem. We have x power 4, not x cubed, x squared. And here we have a constant. So here we have a degree 4. So we cannot use the trinomial factorization or the quadratic formula, because the quadratic formula techniques for the quadratic equation, not the degree 4. So we have to find another technique. We have x power 4, and we have studied before that x power 4 is equal to x power 2 all squared. So we can assume that x squared is equal to another variable. Then we are going to solve this equation as a quadratic equation, but with different variable. So let a, for example, a is equal to x squared. Let a is equal to x squared. Then replace each x squared, not x squared, by, okay, let's see, gonna happen a squared, because x squared, so it will be a squared minus 3a minus 4 is equal to 0. So we are going to replace x squared by the symbol a. So here we have a quadratic equation. We can solve it easily by factoring methods. A squared minus 3a minus 4. We have a trinomial, quadratic trinomial. So we need two numbers multiplied to negative 4 but add to negative 3, which is 4 and 1. 4 times 1, 4. 4 minus 1, 3, but we have negative sign. So negative 4 plus 1. 1 times negative 4, negative 4. 1 minus 4, negative 3. Then a minus 4 is equal to 0. A plus 1 is equal to 0. But we need to find the solution for x, not for a. So we are going to return back. Then we are going to replace again a by x squared. Then a then x squared minus 4 is equal to 0, and x squared plus 1 is equal to 0. Then x squared minus 4 is equal to 0. Easily we can find the solution by factoring difference of two squares. So it will be x minus 2 plus 2. Then x is equal to 2 and x is equal to negative 2. And here we have a complex number. X squared is equal to negative 1. Then x is equal to square root of negative 1. Or we can say plus or minus square root of negative 1. Then x is equal to plus or minus I by replacing square root of negative 1 by I. So we have two solutions here and two solutions here. So the solutions are 2 and negative 2, I and negative 1. That's it. The second problem, x cubed is equal to 1. So we are going to use the same steps. Rewrite the equation in the form of p of x is equal to 0. Then x cubed minus 1 is equal to 0. Here we have a cubic function. So easily we can solve it by factoring difference of two cubes that we have studied before in the previous video. X cubed minus, we can replace 1 by 1 cubed. It's equal to 0. Then we have small bracket and big bracket. X minus 1, here the opposite sign, plus, here all the time plus. X squared, here we have 1, x times 1, which is x, all equal to 0. Then x minus 1 is equal to 0, then x is equal to 1. And here by factoring or by quadratic formula, we have x squared plus x plus 1. We need two numbers multiplied to 1, but add to 1. Actually, in real numbers, we don't have two numbers multiplied to 1 and add to 1. So we are going to use the quadratic formula. First, identify a and b and c. A is equal to 1, b is equal to 1, c is equal to 1. Then x is equal to negative b, which is negative 1, plus or minus b squared, which is 1 squared, minus 4 times 1 times 1, which is 4, over 2. Then we have negative 1 over 2 plus or minus square root of negative 3. We can replace the square root of negative 3 by I square root of 3, don't forget, over 2. Then we have two solutions here, negative 1 over 2 plus I over 2 square root of 3 and minus I square root of 3 over 2. The solutions are 1 negative half plus I square root of 3 over 2 and negative half minus I square root of 3 over 2. And this is the final answer. Let's see another problem. C. Find the solution of the below polynomial equation. X power 4 equals 16 and D x times x squared plus 8 equal 8 x plus 1. For the first equation, how can we find the solution for this equation? X power 4 is equal to 16. Rewrite the equation in the form of b of x is equal to 0. Then x power 4 minus 16 is equal to 0. Here we have x power 4. We can simplify it by the exponential rules. It will be x squared all squared minus 4 squared equal to 0. Then easily we can factor this expression by factoring difference of two squares. So we have x squared minus 4 plus 4. Here we can factor again by factoring difference of two squares. It will be x minus 2, x plus 2. then x is equal to 2, and here x is equal to negative 2. And here we have a complex solution. X squared is equal to negative 4 by taking the square root of each side. So it will be x is equal to square root of 4, which is 2, times the square root of negative 1, which is I. So plus or minus 2i. So the solutions are 2, negative 2, 2i, and negative 2i. The last example here. X times x squared plus 8 equal to 8 times x plus 1. First, we are going to use the distributive property. So we have to multiply x times x squared plus x times 8. Then x cubed plus 8x equal to 8x plus 8. Then put the expression in the form of p of x is equal to 0. Then x cubed plus 8x minus 8x minus 8 equal to 0. Here we can easily simplify 8x cancelled with negative 8x. Then we have x cubed minus 8 equal to 0. We have a cubic function, so easily we can find the solution by factoring difference of two cubes. We can replace 8 by 2 cubed. Then we have two brackets, small bracket and big bracket. Then we have x minus 2 will be x squared plus 2 squared 4, and then 2 times x squared plus 2x plus 4 equal to 0. Then x minus 2 is equal to 0, then x is equal to 2. And here we have a trinomial, quadratic trinomial. We need two numbers multiplied to 4 but add to 2. Actually, we don't have two numbers multiplied to 2 but add to 4. We don't have in real numbers two numbers multiplied to 4 but add to 2. Then we are going to use quadratic formula. Then a is equal to 1, b is equal to 2, c is equal to 4. Then x is equal to negative b, negative 2, plus or minus b squared b squared, which is 4, minus 4 times 1, 4 times 4, 16, over 2a, which is 2. Then x is equal to negative 2 over 2, negative 1, plus or minus square root of negative 12 over 2, which is 2i square root of 3 over 2. Then the solutions are 2 and negative 1 plus 2i square root of 3 over 2. We can simplify, so it will be negative 1 the solutions are 2 and negative 1 plus I square root of 3 and negative 1 minus I square root of 3. Can simplify 2, cancel with 2. Then x is equal to negative 1 plus or minus I square root of 3. So here we have three solutions: 2, negative 1 plus I square root of 3, and negative 1 minus I square root of 3. I hope this video helped you. We have an assignment, assignment 3. the textbook page 301, starting from 10 till 24, plus starting from 39 till 50. If you need any help, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you. See you soon.